Hello, fellow human, as we enter into 2022 together. Let's do so with the intention of making this year so much better than last year. Because last year was a tough year, 2021, very difficult for pretty much everybody on the planet. So let's create a mindset together that we can use to go into 2022 to make it a year of much more happiness, much more connection and togetherness, and a year where you feel much more certain in yourself and more confident about the world. Now, to do that, we obviously need to understand what a mindset is and how we can change the mindset that we already have. And whether you currently just have a bit of a negative mindset and you'd like to be more positive, whether you tend to go to the worst case scenario or see all of the downsides rather than the upsides, or you want to have a success mindset, you want to achieve far more this year than you were capable of achieving last year. This video is going to walk you through exactly what you need to do in order to transform your mindset, which means that if you have anxiety or depression in your life, you might be able to move beyond that and to have more of a sense of inner peace, calm within you, and optimism for the future. If you have self-defeating habits, maybe you eat or you use drink or drugs or sex or gambling or pornography in a way that doesn't serve you, in a way that doesn't give you what you want, but in fact gnaws away at you and makes you less than what you truly know that you are. Or even if you just want to get rid of procrastination, you want to be able to have more motivation, more get up and go, to wake up in the morning feeling ready to take on the world and to achieve all the ambitions that you have. This video is going to walk you through the things that you need to do in order to have that in your life, in order to change your mindset and to escape from the negative mindset that hasn't served you as well as you'd like it to. And there are 4 things that you need to do if you want to create a new mindset. There's something you need to identify, there's an analysis that you need to do, there is something that you need to select, and there's a substitution that needs to happen as well. But before we get too much into the exact things that you need to do to create this new mindset, let's talk about what is a mindset anyway. Because I think that the term mindset is a little bit woolly. Precisely and specifically, which aspect of mind are we talking about when we say mindset? Your mindset is a collection of beliefs. And those mindset beliefs are the ones which tell you which beliefs are true and which beliefs are false for you. Now, it's an idea that comes from philosophy, and particularly from philosophy of science. In science, we need to understand certain things. We need to make certain assumptions in order for the rest of the endeavor of science to make any sense to us. For example, one of the things that scientists almost universally believe is that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form into another form. That's a paradigm belief for science. And in our own mind, in our mindset, we have beliefs that are somewhat equivalent, things which are just true for us. And all other beliefs that we might incorporate into our sense of self or our idea of the world will be tested against our mindset beliefs and either accepted or rejected depending on the beliefs that we have in our mindset. So that's the abstract way of thinking about it. Let's look at it a bit more concretely now, and let's look at some specific example beliefs. Now, the first belief that we have here is one that's very common with anxiety, very common with depression as well, a belief of I am not good enough. Now, you may have another version of this. It may be I'm not smart enough, I'm not clever enough, I'm not funny enough, not witty enough, not charming enough, whatever it is. But in some sense, there's a not good enough component. There's probably a voice that goes along with it in your mind that says something like, if you were to apply for a new job, oh, there's not much point in applying for that, is there? Because you're not smart enough. You're just going to fail, aren't you? You're just going to trip up. Somebody's going to do better than you. You're going to be found out. You'll be rumbled. You might as well not apply for it because you won't get it anyway. Just let Sandra have it. And this voice, it doesn't just say it in the area of applying for a job. It probably says it in other areas of your life. If you have the belief of I'm not good enough, you probably hear that voice quite frequently. Maybe you even have a negative relationship to that voice. You resent it. You don't like it. You feel that it's something that drags you down, holds you back, but nonetheless it's there and it's persistent. And it is there and it is persistent because of this mindset belief of I am not good enough. Another belief that you might have is the belief that life is suffering, or life is pain, perhaps. Life is disappointment, something like that. And it's very common with depression. People who are depressed often have something like this. And again, there may well be a voice that goes along with it that says, oh, well, it doesn't matter if it's good now, because in a week or two, you're going to be right back to where you were. Something always happens, doesn't it? Something always messes you up. And you can feel this voice sort of sapping you of your energy and your enthusiasm, almost as though it's turned the timer upside down and the sand is pouring through it. And you know that sooner or later it's going to run out and you'll be back in depression, back in misery, back in frustration and disappointment. No matter how good things are for you right now, you know that they can't stay good because you have a belief that life is suffering or life is painful or disappointing or whatever it is. Another belief you may have, particularly if you want to build a success mindset, you want to make more money this year than you have in previous years, you might have a belief that prevents that along the lines of you need connections to become wealthy. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And if you don't have those connections, if you weren't born in a certain place in the social hierarchy, then there's no way for you to become wealthy. There's no way for you to escape the misfortune of where you were born. And again, if you have a belief like this, it's quite probable there's a voice that goes along with it that might have something to say every time you take a gamble, every time you take a financial risk in the hope of making more money, which you sort of have to do if you want to be an entrepreneur. And maybe it says, we're just wasting your money, aren't you? It's just a stupid thing. You can't possibly make any money because you weren't born in the right place. You don't know the right people. You didn't go to the right school. Money's not for people like you, is it? Just stay small. And if you have a voice like that, it's going to, again, sap all of your motivation. It's going to prevent you from feeling confident with the actions that you do take, which means that you're not likely to be as successful with those actions. So here's what you need to do to be able to change your mindset, to be able to escape from these old negative beliefs and to achieve the things that you want to have so that you can have more positivity and connection and success in your life. And the first thing that you need to do in order to change your mindset is to identify the problem belief. Now, it may be that one of the beliefs we've been talking about today has resonated with you. Maybe you do have a not good enough thing going on, for example. Or it may be that none of these have exactly resonated with you, but you recognize that there is a truth to this, that there are beliefs that you have and that they're accompanied by these voices that constrain your behavior, that prevent you from having the freedom to explore your full potential. So you need to identify the specific problem belief. Now, these may be core beliefs about you as a person. I'm not good enough, not clever enough, not funny enough are great examples of core beliefs about you as a person. So any I am belief, any identity level belief is going to be a mindset belief. It's going to be something that will either provide you with freedom and empowerment or strip that away from you and keep you stuck in the past. You may also have core beliefs about the world and the way that other people act in the world. For example, you may have a belief that all men are liars and cheats and untrustworthy, which will prevent you from having trusting and loving relationships with men. It may be that you feel that all authority figures are inherently fearful, that you should be afraid of authority figures. And as a result, it's hard for you to progress at work. It's hard for you to have a good relationship with a parent or to trust doctors or to see dentists or whatever it is. And there may also be core beliefs about the way that people should act. You may believe that, well, nice guys just don't approach women. It may be that you believe that it's not appropriate for you to start a business and to try and make more money when there are so many other people that are starving, and that your internalized guilt is preventing you from having success. So you need to identify the problem belief. It needs to be something which is a mindset belief. So the acid test here is, does this belief help you to evaluate the truthfulness or falsity of other beliefs? Now, I have a belief that the grass is green. That doesn't help me to evaluate the falsity or truthfulness of other beliefs about the world or about myself. So it is not a mindset belief. However, I also have a belief that I am capable of achieving anything that I put my mind to, which means I can then test other beliefs against that paradigm, that mindset belief. So, for example, if I decided that I wanted to play the piano, I believe that I could learn to do it. It doesn't mean that I believe I can play the piano. It's not an instrument I play, but it does mean I believe I am capable of doing it. As a result, I'm much more likely to go and learn the piano if I decide I want to do it, and to be successful and to enjoy that learning process rather than it being a constant uphill battle. The next thing that you need to do is you need to analyze the impact of the belief, which means you should consider, how does it, first of all, negatively affect you? If you have a belief of I'm not good enough, what are the consequences of that? What are the things that it is preventing you from doing or feeling or achieving? But don't stop there. This is a mistake a lot of people make. Don't just stop with what is the negative effect of the belief. I want you to look at the positive effect of the belief as well. How does this belief serve you? Because this is really the key. If you don't acknowledge a positive intention for these beliefs, then you won't be able to shift them. There is a positive intention to believing that you're not good enough, in that it perhaps prevents you from overreaching. It perhaps prevents you from being arrogant. There's a positive belief in needing connections to become wealthy, because if you're not connected, then if you believe you need connections to become wealthy, it should be the first thing you do. It shouldn't be a throwing your hands up in the air moment of, I can't succeed in this because I wasn't born in the right place, didn't go to the right school. It should be something that serves you in terms of your prioritization of what's important. Okay, how do you make connections? How do you bridge that gap between where you're at now and where you would like to be? It may be that it's a belief you want to get rid of, or it may be that it's a belief that you need to change, to shift somehow. Where did you learn this belief? Is this a belief that you simply picked up from a parent? Is it a belief that you picked up from your religion? And if you're no longer a member of that religion, does it still serve you? And if you are still a member of that religion, is there another interpretation to that belief which might serve you better? Is this something that was just installed into you by your peer group at school or at university and doesn't really fit with where you are in life right now? Where did you learn this belief? These questions are about helping you to create some flexibility. They're about breaking up these beliefs a little bit so that when we get into the next step, it'll be that much easier. And the next step is to select a replacement belief. What would you like to believe instead of I'm not good enough? Would you like to believe that you are good enough? Would you like to believe that everybody is inherently valuable? Would you like to believe that you are capable of achieving whatever you put your mind to if you put the effort in? What is the replacement belief that you would like to have? There are a few important considerations here. Firstly, it must serve the same function as the current belief. So if you have a belief of life is suffering, well, what function does that serve? Perhaps it serves to moderate your expectations so that you don't build these big expectations and then end up being disappointed by them. So how can you replace that belief with something that will allow you to not be disappointed by whatever does transpire in your world? So that might be replacing it with a belief along the lines of everything happens for a reason. Everything turns out okay eventually. Right? So a belief that allows you to mitigate the amount of disappointment that you experience, but serves the same function as the negative belief. Now, this belief must avoid the negative aspect of the old belief. So if you have a belief of I'm not good enough, What's the problem? Well, the problem is there's a voice in your mind that's always telling you not to reach, not to try to be more successful, that's always pulling you down, that's always telling you perhaps that you're a piece of shit, that you're worthless, that you're unlovable. I don't know what it is exactly for you. Everybody has their own voice that appears around these beliefs. So that negative aspect of the belief is that it is causing you psychological distress in this particular instance. The negative aspect is that it prevents you from actualizing as a person. It prevents you from being enthusiastic about things, being adventurous, being ambitious. So your new belief must avoid that negative aspect of the old belief whilst still providing the same positive function. And it must also be something that creates behavioral flexibility. You see, the problem with a not good enough belief, for example, is that it prevents you from doing lots and lots of things. You want to create a belief that enables you to explore more and more of your potential. That's what we're doing with this mindset shift, is we're actually building more flexibility into it. We're identifying negative beliefs, and then we're identifying positive beliefs that you could have, even if you don't presently have them, that you could have that would serve the same function. And then the final thing that you need to do is you need to substitute your new belief in for the old belief, which means that you're going to need to use some kind of personal development technique. One thing that you could use, for example, would be affirmations. Generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of affirmations because what they tend to do is try to overwrite an old belief with a new empowering belief. But they don't remove the old belief, they don't transform the old belief. It's like creating something new and sticking it on top of the old belief. It takes an awful lot of effort, and it's often not particularly successful. But affirmations, nonetheless, they're fairly straightforward. You create a statement that you wish to be your new belief, and you say it to yourself repeatedly, over and over again, for an extended period of time, and the belief will enter your unconscious mind. The level that it enters is a little bit unknowable, it's unpredictable. It depends on the amount of resistance there is to incorporating this new belief. If there's no resistance, affirmations work beautifully. If there is some resistance, then you may get slightly unpredictable, maybe even slightly flaky, wobbly results as a result of it. Another option would be to use something like neuro-linguistic programming if you're trained in NLP. Now, again, this is something that is a little bit complicated. If you've learned the belief change techniques from NLP, then go ahead and use the belief change techniques in NLP. The problem with NLP is that it is quite an expensive thing to learn, and often people find that some of the techniques work for them and some of them don't. Now, the third, and in my opinion, the best way to transform these beliefs is to use hypnotic regression therapy. Now, obviously that does have the disadvantage that you would need to find a therapist who could do that for you. But it is much more powerful for this one simple reason. The hypnotic regression therapy is about finding the moment in the past where these beliefs were created for you, and then using a process to change the meaning of what happened. So you learn a new meaning on that event, that thing that happened. If there was a moment in your life where you decided, I'm not smart enough, maybe you were expecting an A on your test and you got a C minus, and you decided, I'm just not smart enough, I just can't do maths. And that has then followed you around for the rest of your life. The best thing that you can do is revisit that moment using hypnotic regression therapy, transform it, and then a new set of learnings will be generated automatically. Learnings that will fulfill all of the criteria that we've been going through in this video. Now, hopefully that's been helpful to you. Just as a reminder of what you need to do, you need to substitute an old belief with a new belief. It's very important that you think about it like that. It's very much like a football manager looking at all the players that are out on the field and looking at the players that are on the bench and deciding, well, who is going to have the biggest impact here? Who is going to be the difference that makes the difference? Who's going to go out there and score that goal? And then substituting it. So you're not just adding another player. You can't have 12 players on the pitch. It's just not going to be acceptable. It's about swapping one that's not working so well for one that might work much better and seeing what happens so that your team becomes more agile, more flexible, more dynamic, and more likely to be a winner. And what's going to happen for you when you do make this substitution of an old belief that doesn't work for a new one that provides you with more opportunity, more flexibility, more drive, is that you'll experience new behaviors that manifest spontaneously, new emotional responses to things. So when things used to upset you, piss you off, make you afraid, make you sad, make you feel hopeless and despairing or whatever it is, instead you'll perhaps feel more optimistic, feel that you have a way of dealing with it, a new insight, a new perspective, a new standpoint, a new way of getting through things. And so that you'll also have a new internal dialogue as well. Because these voices in your mind that can kind of nag away at you and be so frustrating, well, they're looking at your mindset beliefs and they're communicating with you based on those beliefs. When those beliefs change, the character of that voice can change very dramatically. So if you want to change your mindset, then don't think about adding new beliefs. Instead, think about substituting new beliefs for the old beliefs, beliefs that create a bit agility and flexibility rather than the old sluggish mindset you've been dragging around with you for the whole of 2021 and before. Now, if you'd like some help to be able to make this transformation, I am a therapist and I'm still accepting clients. I work completely online now because the pandemic put an end to my face-to-face practice, but I am a fully certified clinical hypnotherapist. If you want to get in touch with me, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see there's a link in the description that will take you to my website where you can let me know how to contact you. Or if it's on Facebook, then just go directly to my Lotus self-development page and send me a message from there. Hope this video has been very helpful to you. Make sure that you do like my page, like this video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, and let me know about your experiences in the comments as well. I always love to hear from you as much as possible. Let me know what you think about this video, the ideas that I've been talking about, the mindset transformation that you want to have or that you've already managed to achieve, and how that has helped you. Anyway, I'll catch up with you soon. Take care. This is Lotus. Goodbye.